Hello, I'm Tom English, and today's lesson is on negative numbers. And I think a lot of kids get confused with negative numbers, especially when they get into subtracting negative numbers and you end up with a double negative, and that causes some consternation. So I want to go through that and show you how at least I taught it, and maybe it will help your student as well. First of all, when they're introduced to negative numbers in probably the 4th grade or so, they start with a number line. And one of the things that we realize with a number line is all numbers to the right are positive, all numbers to the left are negative. If you are adding a number, you're going to move to the right. If you're subtracting a number, you're going to move to the left. Let's start with a fairly simple problem. Let's say we've got 5 minus 3. Now you'll notice there's no plus or minus sign in front of the 5. If there is no sign, it's understood to be a positive. So in this case, let's start at the positive 5, which is on the right side of the 0. And then we're going to go back or to the left 3 because we're subtracting 3, or we have a negative 3. So we go back 1, 2, 3, and we're going to end up at a positive 2. Now, the number line will work both ways. If we started with the negative, let's say instead of 5 minus 3, we got a negative 3 and a plus 5. Now that right away is going to confuse some of the kids because they're used to seeing the negatives on the right side, and all of a sudden they're over here and they're saying, wait a minute, that's not the way it should be. Well, it really doesn't matter, and that's the thing I want to get to later. But let's start with this now at the negative 3. If we start over here at negative 3 and we're adding 5, we're going to the right. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to end up at the same place, aren't we? So basically we're saying it doesn't matter which order the numbers are in. And I like to think about, instead of saying, oh, you're subtracting 3 from 5, or how do you say it when it's the 3 is in the start, or you're adding 5 to a negative 3. What I like kids to be thinking of is combining numbers. What we're really doing, let's not think of it as adding and subtracting numbers, but we're combining numbers. And we've got two main rules when we're combining numbers. The very first rule is if the signs are the same, then the rule is we're going to add the numbers. Let's take it again a couple examples. Oh, let's say 7 and a 4. If the signs are the same, again, if it's understood with no symbol, that it's a plus. So here we've got 2 plus signs, so the numbers are the same. We said we add. And when we add, we're talking about adding the absolute values. I'm not sure if you have run into that term, but absolute value means the value of the number without the sign. So it doesn't matter whether it's a plus or negative 7, it's the value is 7. The absolute value is 7. Same with the 4. So in this case, we're going to add, we're going to get 11. And since these were both positives, we know it's a positive 11. And if they turned around and we had the same thing, but instead of positives, they were negatives, we've got a negative 7 and a negative 4. And this is where they get confused and say, well, I'm subtracting 7, I'm subtracting 4. That can be a little confusing to them. But if they think, no, I have a negative 7 and a negative 4. Again, if we use this rule, it says, oh, the signs are the same. So what do we do with the numbers? We add the numbers. Again, 7 and 4 are 11. In this case, since both signs were negative, the answer is going to be a negative 11. That's pretty easy, and I think most kids get that. The next rule is the most important one, and for them to really get a handle on, and that's when the signs are different. If the signs differ, then what I suggest is we find the difference. Now, how do we find the difference between two numbers? Well, the difference is merely where we subtract the smaller one from the larger one. Let's use the 7 and 4 again, but let's say it's a -7 and a +4. Here's a case where the signs are different. The signs are different, we have to find the difference. Well, by finding the difference, we're going to take the absolute value of this -7, the absolute value of the 4, and we're going to subtract the smaller from the larger, and we get 3. Now the question is, what is the sign of that 3? Well, I always tell the kids, what do we have the most of to start with? We had more negatives than we did positives, so we're bound to end up with a negative for the answer. Another way to look at that is the sign of the answer will be whatever the sign of the larger number was. Let's turn it around. Let's make it a +7 and a -3. Okay, in that case, again, the signs are different, and therefore we find the difference. 7, 3, the difference is 4. Now is that going to be a +4 or a -4? Again, we had more positives to start with, so therefore the answer is going to be a +4. Okay? Signs are the same, add, signs are different, find the difference. Hopefully that will help your students when they're faced with what do I do when I'm running into negative numbers. Think of them as combining the numbers. Next video I'm going to do one where we're stringing them together. I think that will drive it home even a little more. Thank you.